Welcome, everyone, to the From Experience podcast, where you can grow and learn from the experience of other professionals and become a better, more successful version of yourself. And hey, you need to invest the time into becoming that person. So my name is Thomas Meister. I'm the creator and co-host of the From Experience podcast, along with Eric Peterson. However, Eric isn't here today. Instead, we have a special guest co-host, Ryan Grant. He's the founder of The Art of Homeownership, co-founder of Tribe Coaching, co-creator and divisional president at Neo Home Loans. Ryan, how are you today, buddy?
What's up, Tom? Neil, everybody, thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. And today we have a very special guest. His approach in marketing and content is making waves, especially in the mortgage and real estate industry where, let's face it, guys, it's really needed. More importantly, though, Neel has a blueprint, which is absolutely essential to build upon success and take any part of your business to the next level. Super excited to get into this topic. Neel Dhingra, everybody. Neel, how are you?
Good, man. Did you get a haircut recently?
I did. I find myself between haircuts a little bit more here and there, working from home and all that.
You look sharp, man.
Oh, thanks. Do you ever get a haircut, or do you just always wear melon hats?
I've always been wearing a hat lately, but yeah, I might unveil a new style. You're inspiring me today.
Okay, there you go. Get the hard part line. And this is a fade, a 1 to a 2. Nobody cares. Let's get started. All right, gents. So want to give you the chance to briefly introduce yourselves. I'd love for you to do that actually by answering the age-old and cliche question, what do you do for a living? If anyone here follows Renee Rodriguez or subscribes to the Amplify process, you know why I'm asking this. We should not be answering people's questions in ways that don't actually influence or help lead them. So Neel, I'm going to start with you. What do you do for a living?
So I will say this, I create content for the internet. That's what I do. And so the reason why I say that is because, I'm a content creator who just happens to do home loans and happens to help people with financing. But the thing is, I realized a long time ago that I could only impact a certain number of people if I did it traditionally. And by creating content first, becoming a marketer first, I could impact way more people. So that got me even more passionate about reaching more people. And that's my main goal, is to put out content for the internet that reaches a ton of people. And then after that, now we have the opportunity to serve them with their home loans and their real estate and help families and do all these cool things after the fact. And that's what's led to my growth. And it's really led to me becoming passionate about the mortgage industry again, because I can kind of, there's probably a lot of people on this call or listening to this after the fact that can attest to burnout in this industry. It's a rough industry. I think we picked one of the tougher careers that you could be in the tougher industries, but there's got to be some things that you love about the job, and marketing is one of those things for me. And that's what's allowed me to become passionate about what I do. And then also that passion's come through in our content. It comes through in the way we communicate with clients, and it's allowed me to serve way more people than I ever thought would be possible. So that's my 30-second pitch.
Love it.
Or 1 minute pitch.
More like 1 minute. Yeah. But all right, Ryan, what do you do for a living?
That's a great question. For most of my career, I was a loan officer in the mortgage industry, and I was very conformist when it came to the job I was doing. It was around 2018 when it was kind of like this trifecta of things that had happened in my career, where I was one of the top lenders in the country, but I was also not inspired or fulfilled with the work that I was doing. I wasn't proud of it. Clients were starting to choose lower priced, lower interest rate lenders on a more consistent basis, even though prior to that was not really a challenge for us. And then I had a client who really had a tough situation with her husband passing away, and I realized that we could have done quite a few things to help that family in ways that we should have, but never thought to. And so for the last 4 years or so, we have been focused on changing the mortgage industry and the real estate industry for the better, right? Redefining what it means to be a mortgage professional, and committing to help our clients not just own homes, but become really successful homeowners. And I'm really excited to be here with Neel today, because I think the combination of his reach, right, and the message that we've been trying to put out across all of anything we touch and all the people we coach is a really powerful combination. And I think it's timely in the market today. So excited to be here.
Right on. Absolutely. So yeah, topic, guys, for everyone watching: better marketing, better results. Neel, you're the CEO, founder of Forward Academy. Can you share with everyone a little bit about Forward Academy and kind of where that came from and how that's going?
Yeah, so I was in a similar position to Ryan, and actually very similar timing. 2018, been in the business for a long time, but just kind of burnt out and didn't really understand my value to everybody. You know, I think everybody can attest to this. Like when you lose the client, or when someone says, "Hey, you know what? It's been great working with you, but dude, I found this other quote online. I'm going to go with them." Or I was able to get a better deal, and that feeling that you feel when that happens, it almost I would say this. I think if you haven't pondered leaving the industry multiple times throughout the year, you're not normal. Like that's how, because when these kinds of things happen, especially when it happen a lot, like you start to like wonder, well, what is my value? Like, what's the deal? And the thing is I realized I wasn't being an effective communicator. So I wasn't conveying my value to the clients, and I wasn't conveying it to enough people. So there was this small group of people who knew that I did a great job, and the great things about working with me and my team. But other than that, that was it. So it was like I wanted to widen that. So I started seeing other people doing content on the internet, and I saw mostly in our industry people running ads. And even when they thought they were posting things, it was basically an advertisement. It's like, call me for all your mortgage needs, and that's what I would see. And I was like, there's got to be a better way, because I don't really know what a mortgage need is if I'm a consumer, right? Like, what does that mean? Yeah. So I was like, let me see these other people in other industries. So I started following people just in marketing that were really good at B2C marketing, like putting out content that would be valuable to consumers, and then how they translated that into business. And I got kind of inspired by a few people in that space and started to do it myself. And the first year of videos I put out was horrible. Like I can't watch them. It's really bad if you look at the video on your phone or whatever, and you can't even watch your own video all the way to if you can't watch the whole thing, then the consumer is definitely not watching it. So I was like, that was the first year of me doing content, was really, really, cringeworthy videos. But even with doing those bad videos, I noticed people starting to respect me more, people reaching out to me more, and getting shopped less, getting more referral partners to treat you better, right? And I got this thing where people like that feeling of being valued made me kind of like my job, you know what I mean? Because it's great working with people who actually respect you and want to work with you. So that was the cool part about being in this industry, is those clients who liked working with you, respected you, referred you afterwards, those business partners who are your best business partners. Think about the way those people treat you. And that's what kind of I wanted more of that, and less of the other stuff that makes us want to leave the industry. So this was the hack for me to do that. And I got this kind of slow growth at first. As I got better at the marketing, as I got better at communicating on camera, the growth started to improve. And then the last, 12, 24 months had kind of exponential growth in both reach, team size, transactions, income, all that stuff. And it was a result of just kind of sticking with it. But along the way, a lot of people would ask me, hey, come speak at our event. Come show us what you're doing. We've seen this. Can you come talk to our team? And I would speak all these things. And then I would look back like a couple of weeks later, and nobody did anything. So we all were in the room and we agreed, high-fiving each other, like, hey, this is awesome. Let's do it. We need to incorporate video. But nobody would do it. And so I was thinking first, hey, these guys are all just lazy. They don't want to do it. But then I realized the issue is not that. It's a little bit of that, but it's mostly lack of awareness. They don't quite know what to do, or they tried content and it didn't work, or they just aren't comfortable. So I was like, hey, why don't I try and help these people? And we put together some programs, both online, in person, and we also do an annual event, which we'll talk about later. But the whole point was to, hey, let's move the industry forward. And let's help other people who are just like me, who don't quite know how to do this. And like, what if I could get them traction faster? And so I think if you've got traction faster, you'd be less likely to quit, because it's the same reason why people quit working out, right? Because you go for a couple of weeks and then all of a sudden you're just in awe that you didn't get a 6-pack already. So then you're like, this isn't working. So you quit, right? You're like, it didn't work. But really the best results come like 6-12 months later. So if I could shorten that period in the beginning by giving people some tips, some things that they should focus on, some hacks, then I figured they'll get traction faster, less likely to quit, and then we'll be able to move a lot more people forward. So that was the whole point of Forward Academy and kind of putting that together. And it's been great. We've been able to help, hundreds of LOs and realtors in the industry. Hopefully we're getting close to like 1,000 plus students across all platforms. And it's been really cool to see certain people that continue executing just take off with this stuff.
Yeah, I know we've seen that firsthand in our world here. And so It's undisputed how impactful what you're doing is. I think the question I have is, if you teach people what to do, the cadence and how to do it, the structure, the strategy around it, how are they finding the content? Because I feel like that's probably where people are the most challenged, right? They have this concern that what they say may not be as impactful, or they may not be the master of that content, right? So they're concerned that how it lands may be challenged. How do you help people through that, right? What they should be saying, the messaging, the strategy, the content.
Yeah, I think first thing you said is really important, Ryan, is people think it's boring. They don't know what to say and they think nobody cares. Well, the truth of the matter is people really do care about their finance and their investments. And this is the biggest investment that they're going to make. And this investment could have the most impact of them financially for many of our clients, right? Yeah. So it's so important. And people are like literally searching for these things on the internet. And what opened my eyes was I was looking at Google Trends and I saw the people searching for, like, even during the housing craziness last year, like how to get offers accepted. So average people were like searching these topics on like, how to get a deal in a tough market, and, when are prices going to come down? And there's things that are really top of mind for people. So the first thing you have to realize is there's enough data out there. Whether you and I disagree on this doesn't matter. The data says that there's a lot of consumers searching, particularly millennials, searching for advice and information on real estate and finance. So that's undisputed. There are people searching for this every single day on the internet. Where are those people located? Well, this happened a couple of years ago. I was sitting in an airport waiting for a flight delay, Southwest plane delayed, and we're just all sitting in the terminal. I look around and all 200 people are on their phones. Mm-hmm. And on those phones are either Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. And then now you could probably throw in TikTok, right? But Back then it was those three. So like, this is where they all are. And in that group of people, there are the millennials with money, which is our target audience. These are the biggest group of home buyers going forward. So I was like, these people are looking for this data. But the thing is, you just have to do it in an innovative way. So the reason why you feel like nobody watches it is because you're probably doing it in a way that's boring or too much jargon, or just it needs to be tweaked. So once I started doing it in a better way, more relatable way, and more consumable, then more people started to follow along. So I think that's the first step, is to get on that. And then the next step is, how do you find topics? Well, the topics are what's relevant today. So what's relevant today? Interest rates, the opportunity in the market. What's going to happen to real estate during a recession. These are all topics that people are searching for. So there's always something happening in the day-to-day that we could be talking about. And then there's also some just tried and true things, like, why real estate is the best investment. How to get a good deal on a property, how to get the best home loan. There's things that people search regardless of what's going on with the economy. And those are the topics that you want to do for these videos.
Yeah, to use, I guess, the huge opportunity video that you recently came out with, right? Which for anybody watching, you can go over to, what's your handle, Neel, on Instagram?
It's at Neel Home.
There you go.
And I'll put the link in the
description. Cool. And if while you're watching this, just quickly pull it up, because I think it actually helps you realize, what does that look like, right? Because I think a lot of people here have seen your content, Neel, but
yeah,
I have an actual case scenario. Hopefully Joe doesn't care that I shout him out because he's here in the lobby. But a buddy we were catching up, and he mentioned, I saw what he was doing. All his content was looking sharp. It's looking really good. So I asked him, I was like, hey, who are you using? Or like, what kind of led to that change? And he's like, well, I'll be honest. There's a guy that I, just completely ripped off. And that guy's name is John. That John, I think, went to your content day.
Yeah.
But Joe has never, I think he's heard of you, but I don't think he's ever been to your content day or anything like that. So I think the desire and that obvious like attraction to, that's just a better way to show content. So for anybody looking, head over there. I think it really helps showcase how Neel's content is influencing people. So
yep. And so that's kind of like, what I saw a ton of loan officers and realtors putting out content about how rates had gone up. Well, that's a negative thing, right? So what is the opportunity created by rates going up? It's that it spooked some buyers, and now you can get a property for tens of thousands of dollars less than you would have paid just a few months ago. So that's the video. We need to make it in a digestible format. So we don't want to talk about mortgage bonds. We don't talk about, all these weird technical things that we all know. We want to, it's not like we're trying to convince them that we're smart. Like, if you can simplify a complex topic into something that's easy for everyone to understand, that puts you in a different category. That actually makes you smarter. So that was something I thought before, like I needed to convince people that I know what I'm talking about. No, I need to make sure they can understand it, because otherwise you're not reaching anybody. So it's, taking a topic like rates, which are typically boring, and talking about the opportunity that this has caused, and the fact that, rates are likely to come down in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. I think definitely more visible now more than ever is extremely important, right? Like, I believe I've heard Gary Vee say it, right? And he's actually speaking at the conference coming up this month, right? Day trading and attention, right? You definitely have to get those eyeballs, but I think it's also important to differentiate. Ryan, can you share a little bit about differentiating?
Yeah, that's why the marriage between what Neel is doing and the messaging is so important and timely, right? Because right now you need to be more present and more visible than you ever have been, right? Because in challenging times, most people shrink, they get small, they think small, right? Their lizard brain takes over, as Renee would tell us, and they fight, flight, or freeze, right? A lot of people are freezing right now. A lot of people are flighting right now. Very few people are fighting right now. And fighting in this instance looks like putting yourself out into the universe and helping solve the challenges and the concerns and fears that people have, but doing it in a way that's different, right? Doing it in a way that's, telling a different story, that is creating a higher level of commitment to people. And so this is where, Neel, obviously we've followed you for a long time and had the opportunity to talk quite a few times since then. But, if people can understand how to make themselves stand out, both in visibility and context, that'll set you up for the next 10 plus years.
Yeah. And what you do now during this period is the most important, I would say, going forward. Because right now we're in a period where there's a contraction in the industry. There's no doubt about it. The data from the Mortgage Bankers Association says there's roughly half the number of mortgages are going to be issued this year than in the last year. So that literally cut our opportunity in half.
Wow.
But here's the thing. That's going to cause people who just got in for the quick buck to leave. It's going to we've already seen mass layoffs at all these online lenders and refi shops because they didn't provide any value. All they were was order takers. So with the first hint of adversity, they laid off thousands of people. That shows you their value, right? Those people were literally expendable. Yeah. And then that's now that's the opportunity for us to really communicate. So what's cool about this is if you don't just go into a hole and I've seen some LOs posting themselves with a bottle of Jack complaining that rates have gone up and everything's gone down, right? You shouldn't be complaining. You should be getting out there and looking at opportunities. There's always an opportunity. Last year it was like, hey, the prices are high, but you can lock in at ridiculously low financing and that's going to offset this higher price. Now the opportunity is flipped, right? It's like, hey, the rates are slightly higher, but you get a better price on the property. And by the way, you can refi the rate. And I would encourage people to, just to get very clear on that message. If you're not clear, do some more research and make sure you're coming through with confidence. Because that one thing I did notice, Ryan, was like when we put these videos out, if you can speak with clarity and confidence, people relate to that and they trust you. If you're shaky, even subconsciously, like the viewer doesn't, they're like, this is just another salesperson, and they kind of just scroll past. So you want to put out a clear, understandable message. I even asked my daughter, who's 12 years old, hey, Kara, do you understand what I'm saying here? And she's like, no, you lost me in the beginning. I'm like, oh shit, I need to rewrite this. Because think about the average person. We take this kind of for granted. We do, hundreds of these transactions on a monthly basis. For the average consumer, they're doing this once every 5 to 7 years. So they don't know all the ins and outs. They don't know the terminology. So you want to really dumb it down. And that's not going to make you sound dumb. It's going to make it more relatable. And then people are going to ask you more questions, which is what you want. You want more conversations.
Yeah, I've struggled with that in my career, right? As I have this idea and I try and make it, I try and take the verbiage of it to a level where I sound like the subject matter expert. And, sometimes that more often than not, it'll backfire, right? So knowing your audience is incredibly important, but you hit the nail on the head. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
And so I'd rather you say something, that's totally remedial, right? That the average person may know, but in a way that they go, oh, wow, okay, like guy knows his shit, like he's serious, than trying to say something that, might be a higher level financial, equation and saying it with trepidation or fear or a little bit of like uncertainty, or reading it for that matter. And so I think right now, a lot of people just have self-doubt.
Yeah.
And they're doubting themselves because the results are different than they were, right? They're worse than the results were for the last 3 years. And that self-doubt is creeping into all other areas of their life, which is, putting out a confident, clear, well-stated message. They may not feel like they have the chops to do that because they're, doing potentially less production. How would you help people, or how would you coach people through that right now?
So I think you got to get clear on your message. So if you've ever had, in any industry, any sales coach will tell you this. Anybody who's ever had a sales slump, it's partially due to external factors like the market. There could be a slowdown in the recession, like there's a slowdown in mortgages. We're not immune to that. So that's going to affect us. But the second part, which is equally as important, if not more important, is you have a sales slump because you no longer believe in the product you're selling. So you believe that home prices are a bit too high, and you may believe that interest rates have gone up too high because you saw how low they were last year. So you're like, I wouldn't buy a house, man. Just secret, I wouldn't buy a house right now. How the heck are you going to convey with confidence to the consumer that they should buy real estate and it's a good move for them long term if you don't even believe in it? So I would first get clear on that part, because that's, and if honestly, if you truly believe that, this isn't a good time to buy a home, maybe you should take the year off or leave the industry, and I don't want to be rude to anybody, but we don't need that. You know what I mean? We need people who put out a clear message and guide people, because I know that if somebody's buying for the right reasons for the long term, they're going to be incredibly well served by this home purchase, right? It's going to be one of the biggest sources of wealth and, contribute to so many cool things. And we know this because it's in the data. So get clear on that data. If you're not clear on that, review more, look at the upside of things, right? Look at opportunity instead of looking at the downside. And, and then, so I think that's the first part, is get clear on that. And then you'll see that start to come through in your content, in your communication. I mean, I even did just a quick webinar for referral partners for real estate agents about this. And many of them were like in a slump, right now, because their production has gone down so much. And they were all like, the feedback was amazing afterwards. It was like, thank you so much. This was a light of my week. And all I was doing was just conveying this thing like, hey, let's look for the opportunity, guys. Here's an opportunity I'm seeing. Here's another opportunity. Let's get that message out to our clients. And it's pretty quick. Like if you can shift that negativity into something positive. I know it sounds kind of cliche, but like what you look for, you're going to find.
Yeah.
Like sense. If you look for negativity, that's what you're going to find, and if you look for opportunity, that's what you're going to find. So I'm on that side of the deal because it serves more people. Incidentally, you make a lot more money that way. I don't know if anybody's a fan of that, but that's a cool side effect of looking for opportunity, is that you serve more clients and your income explodes. Cool. Right. So let's get on that side of the deal and get out of this whole, confused, negative, all that stuff.
Yeah. I think I forget which book it is I'm reading right now. I read so many, but the saying that if you tell a pilot, like, don't hit that object, like avoid that object. Well, all the pilot can see now is the object versus it's how you frame it. So a couple of quick things before we start to transition here, but Neel, you mentioned like getting clarity and confidence, right? And I think having a process, like we mentioned earlier, a blueprint, that really helps, because I think that there's a lot of people that just haven't invested during the good times in themselves, right? Yep. And so, well, pardon my English, but no shit. Like, no wonder why you're so fearful. You don't have any. You've been eating it up for a little while. So getting that confidence, and I'm going to make a shameless plug here, but I think next week we're going to be interviewing on the From Experience podcast, Kelly Zitlow, and we're going to be talking about inspirational versus fear-based leadership. And dude, you pointed out, I think earlier, Neel, before we got started, I think that there's a lot of people who don't really have anything inspirational to say. And so they're maybe peddling a lot of fear. And you know what? Leadership during good times, that's not real leadership. I'm stealing this from Ryan. Maybe he stole it from someone, but it's leadership during when times are bad. Like, that's actual leadership, right? So with the few minutes we have left, Neel, for anybody who's looking for where can I go to, I guess, get a little bit more of that blueprint, get that process started, so that way you can get the ball rolling. You have your event coming up this month on the 22nd in Las Vegas. Yep. Forward. Can you share a little bit about the Forward event, how people can learn more about it, what it's about?
Yeah, for sure. So, this whole thing we're talking about right now, it's so important. And once a year, we put on this event where we basically talk about how to move forward with your communication, your business, your goals, all that stuff. And we focus on tactics, and we also focus on, what trends are working. And the biggest thing to move your business forward is marketing. That's what's impacted my business. And that's what's really going to improve everybody's business who's on this call. So we put this event on once a year. It's called the Forward event. It's in Las Vegas. Last year, we had to do it kind of small because of all the restrictions. But this year, we're free. And it's like,
this year we're doing it big.
Yeah, we're doing it big. So I did 10 times bigger than last year. We have Gary Vaynerchuk, Ed Milet. We have an amazing roster of people.
Renee Rodriguez.
Yeah, Renee's going to be there. It's just an absolute A-list of people who are going to give the best strategy. But then the other thing that people don't realize about events is the guy sitting next to you might provide you more value than the person on the stage. So there's going to be the top producers in both real estate and lending from all around the country. Some of these could be your future business partners, right? And so the cool thing about networking has changed my life. Like I've met people, that have really moved the needle for me quicker than I would have been able to on my own. So that's a huge underrated part of going to events, not just what you learn from the stage, but it's what you get from the audience. And we have a super quality audience. So we have 700 people coming from all around the country, best speakers, best networking. We have, I think, 14 tickets as of this taping or whatever live stream we're doing right now.
Left.
Yeah, out of 700. So if you want to go, and let me just put it this way, if anybody goes there, I know for certain, 100% certain in my heart, like this will impact your business and your life. It'll help you. You'll learn something. You'll be inspired. You'll meet somebody. It's going to positively impact you. If for some reason it didn't, find me at the event, I'll refund you. Like it's my event. I put my name on that. And that's a promise for myself. So everybody who's has, like, I think Neo, we have a bunch of people from Neo coming.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't got a ticket, this is not the time to like go into a hole. This is the time to get better at things, invest in yourself. And this would be a step on that path. So I don't know if you have the link, Tom, you can put it in the chat.
Yeah. I'm going to drop that link here.
But everybody who's on this stream can get a discount on these last few tickets, and hope to see more of you guys in Vegas. It's going to be amazing. Brian will be there. Tom will be there. A bunch of people from a bunch of leaders will be there.
Yep. All right, cool. Ryan, any final closing thoughts?
No, just want to say thank you, Neel. Looking forward to your event in a couple of weeks, and thanks for leading by example, showing us what you're doing, showing us the results, and being open and to share your results. I think a lot of people would, get great results and want them for themselves. And I always applaud when leaders of our industry lift down to help other people up, as opposed to the alternative. So just want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. And really thanks for Tom and you on getting the word out to more people within the industry. Because I know what's cool about you guys is what I've noticed, which was kind of surprising, is you guys are down to help people regardless of whether they're with your organization. That's the way I felt as well. Incidentally, that helps grow your organization, which is kind of a weird side effect, but like, that's a cool way to be, is like, hey, let's just have a conversation. Let's put out some value. Let's help people.
Let's give back.
Incidentally, you're going to reach more people and you're going to reach your goals too. But the first step, whether it's content or anything, is like, would somebody get value from what we're talking about?
Yep.
And that's, if you start with that goal, like you're going to get your goals as well.
Exactly. Yep. And with that, want to be respectful of everyone's time. Thanks for tuning in today. And exactly what Neel said, right? Like, and that's the purpose of this podcast, is to help people become better versions of themselves by just giving freely with no regard for what logo is on your business card or what shade or color it is. We just want to help people become better versions of themselves. So thanks everyone for spending the time today. I'm Thomas Meister here with guest co-host Ryan Grant and Neel Dhingra. We'll see you guys on the next video.